35, please. It says on the bottom of page 34, but let's just write on the top so it's easier to study. These are GCF Difference of Squares questions. And they're two-steppers, just like we did two-steppers on the GCF sum product questions yesterday. First step, GCF. Second step, difference of squares. Difference of square means it's a binomial. You can either look at the first example and try to square root it, and you can't, and give up and put nothing and get 0. Or you can do the only other thing that you can do. Only time we have two terms, we square root, one addition, one or subtraction. If that doesn't work, the only other thing you can do is GCF. I see this left blank on a test. I'm sad, because you're going to leave about 3 of them blank and lose too much, 7% on your test, because you don't know how to do this one type of question. It's a median question. But if you don't take a 2 out, you get 0. The only thing you can do is take a 2 out. So GCF, take out a 2. Let's divide everything by 2, and you get a squared subtract 25. Now you have to start it that way. And now, once you do the hard part, because that is the hard part, now don't forget, just like yesterday when we did sum product in the brackets, evaluate the brackets to see if you can factor them. And yes, you can square root this one, a plus 5 times a subtract 5. If you don't take a 2 out, you're going to get 0. And also finish it off. You're going to have two-steppers. Not every question is a two-stepper. Maybe what? The quiz you just wrote, 1 or 2 questions were two-steppers. You have a lot of one-steppers, bless you, but you'll also have several two-steppers you've got to figure out. And this one, if you don't figure out this step, you're not going to get any marks. Okay, so it's always GCF. C is trickier. Study start. C, you can square root it right away. We see 144, we're happy. But we do not square root it right away. The first step to all factoring is GCF, whether you can square root it or not. So can you take out a common factor of 144 and 4? And yes, you can take a 4 out. And what does that make the 144 into? Somebody?
36.
36. So you're still going to be able to do the square rooty thing. Now, again, don't forget, sometimes there's a second step. You always look inside this bracket to see if you can factor it, and that's the difference of squares. Don't square root the 4. 4 stays as 4. 4 does not equal 2. And square root 36, square root p squared, square root q squared. So 6pq. And what's the square root of 1 again? Just 1. It doesn't matter if you put addition or subtraction first. Again, let's write this down. Bring down the 4, because some of you didn't do that on the quiz you just wrote. So bring down is 4. It's not equal. That powerful equal sign means you have to have the 4 down, otherwise it won't equal what we started with. Bless you. Any questions on these guys? C is tricky. If you put, if you square root it right away, you'll get 12pq. Subtract 2 times 12pq plus 2. You can write this down if you wish. That will give you a mark, so 50% of your marks. This will give you all of your marks. You can, from here, take out a 2 from each bracket, and then multiply the 2's together. I'm just going to make this a 2 somehow. So 2 times 2 equals 4, and you get the exact same answer we get. The problem is nobody does that. 99% of students who square root it right away, they go on to the next question. So don't do it. Take a 4 out if you want your full marks 99% of the time. If you do this, I'll give you full marks, of course, if you end up with 4 times 6p subtract 1 times 6p plus 1. But it's rare. So always remember the first step to any factor question on your whole test is to see if you can take a GCF out. That's going to save you these marks. Yes. Full marks. Yes. 2 out of 2 instead of 1 out of 2. And D is a little trickier, but you know for GCFs that sometimes you have to take out numbers and letters, so that's what we have to do in D. In fact, in D, I'm going to start for you, and you're going to do the rest for me. GCF first, differences of squares second. This is the easiest type of factoring. You don't want to get these ones wrong. These are a lot trickier than just the square root ones. But if you can take a GCF out, you're going to get all these right. As long as you don't forget the square rooty as the second step. But you have to remember GCF first step. Only I would have written that very big twice on the whiteboard. Every factor question you see if you can take out a GCF first. It might just be a GCF question. It might not be. If you take a GCF out, it might be a second step to it, some product or differences of squares. Usually not decomp, which is what we're doing on Monday. That's what I said. You guys get 4.5 days off. Are you excited? Hey, there's 8 minutes left. All right, God bless your Thanksgiving. Hope you have a perfect one. Never, ever, ever drink and drive. When you get there, I've lost 2 friends like that, so I pray for nobody drinking and driving during holidays or any day in the world. When I was in grade 11, I lost my friend in grade 11. He got hit by a drunk driver who ran a stop sign and went to heaven. That was awful. And I'm only like 25 years old. And I've had a second friend who got killed by drunk driving, and he decided he would do it again and again and again and again, and finally he ran his scooter, he was in Bermuda, into a telephone pole and died. Very young teacher. So don't ever make that decision. Okay, 3x, take a 3x out, and you're left with x squared subtract 9, which is x plus 3 times x subtract 3. Hello. Okay, let's do the easier couple before, actually just easier one. Okay, do this, or no, these ones. 2. Yeah, do these 2, please, in the green, and then we'll have one more after that. It actually occurs to me that this podcast doesn't have a picture of me. So let's make sure everyone knows who's teaching and what I look like. And even though that was 23 years ago, I haven't really changed, and I am still in the top 50. B, it's okay to get stuck a little bit, but there's only 2 options. You can't square root it. Take a GCF out. In this case, it's just a number. And now, again, you do the hard part. You want to get full marks. You want to make sure you do the easy and the fun part. I have a weird definition of fun. Square root, square root. 1 addition, 1 subtraction. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of y squared is y. And 1 addition, 1 subtraction. Don't forget to put the 3 down for full marks. Check. Thumbs up, lots of thumbs up, right on. This one you might take a 4 out, or even a 2. If you do, might give you low marks for at least recognizing you can take a GCF out, but it's really important you take the biggest, the greatest common factor out. Okay, you gotta look at the 8. If you don't know 8 times something equals 32, then punch it in your calculator. And yes, you take out an 8 because 8 times 4 equals 32. So take out an 8, and then you're happy, and then it becomes the easiest question I can ask you for difference of squares. Again, don't leave it as x squared subtract 4. Some of you forgot to do the second step for the sum product on the second last question, I think it was. Just because you take a GCF out doesn't mean you're done. What am I doing? Another millionth mistake of my life? That's okay. So x subtract 2, that's what we check our answers to see if we made a silly mistake like I almost did, or if we make a sign mistake. Everybody get that? If you distributed and foiled, or foiled and distributed, you would get the same answer. In fact, I would flawless and then distribute as we started with. Okay, this guy, let's go red. This guy is the exact same thing as this guy. You can square root it right away, but do you? No. GCF first, then square root. Let's see how you do. All right, let's get to it before the bell goes on us. What's the GCF? Everybody? 4, not 2. Gotta take a 4 out. Are you done? No. You got half your marks. Next step. Who can tell me what to write? 4 times. Thank you.
It's 8 plus 5y.
Yep.
That's
Not handed. Times.
That's times 8 minus 5y.
Well said. Check. All right. Awesome, awesome. Your homework. Thanksgiving weekend. I usually don't assign something on the weekend, but I'm going to give you half since I missed that week because of People Magazine stuff. So do half of your questions on 6 and have 1 question on 7 and do either 12 or 14. Okay? Good deal? Have a best of an awesome day.